Stella YouTube. I hope that this video finds you guys doing really well. I was just thinking that it's been a while since I've sat down and had a bit of a chat with you guys and given you an update on life back in New Zealand and all that kind of jazz. And I was really thinking about the concept of repatriation and coming back to one's home country after a significant amount of time living overseas. And I just wanted to kind of, I guess, talk through in this video. I'll give a little bit of a life update at first, and then sort of go into, I guess, what I wish someone had told me before moving back home. And I think I'm feeling a little bit in this way because this is around about the time that Neil's got his job offer to come to New Zealand, and that's when life got completely flipped upside down and everything that we thought that we were going to do in 2019, like me getting my French nationality, like, you know, projects I wanted to deliver at work, like our whole life that we thought was going to happen didn't happen, and a completely new one happened. And it's been honestly really great. Life in New Zealand is pretty sweet. So just a super quick life update. So Niels is really loving his job. He's got cool colleagues, definitely finds the rhythm a bit easier than being a consultant in Paris, you know. So I think he's got way more balance in life, and that, you know, after work he's always going biking or running or playing football or volleyball and all of that kind of stuff. So he's got a really nice balance. And for me, I've actually managed to make it work working from home. And I've been doing some consulting, and I've been building up my career coaching business and also doing YouTube as well. And that's been really amazing. I really suit working from home and having that flexibility and the ability to kind of structure my day how I want. Otherwise, we've just been doing lots of work on our wee house. So we have our house, which you can see here. I'm just in the lounge because it's a bit of an older place. We've been doing some work like patching up, you know, places where paint's chipped off and it's exposing the wood, and we had to replace some tiles in the bathroom and just little bits and pieces like that. And the house really feels like a home now because we have our beautiful little Bonbon, our little kitten. Her name is Bonbon d'Avignon, and she is just such a sweetheart. We've also just had Niels' mum here for 6 weeks. I actually did a video with her, which I will link up here. We took the opportunity to do a road trip with her and take her throughout the North Island and to meet my family and stuff like that. So that was a cool trip, and down to the top of the South Island as well for a long weekend. So yeah, that was really cool too. So jumping in, I guess, more to what I sort of wanted to talk about in this video, about the things that I wish I knew before moving back home is, I guess, something around how much anxiety it could induce and how stressful it could be. And I know the word anxiety gets thrown around a lot these days. I guess I just completely underestimated the change involved because I was going home to what's familiar and what's easy for me. I kind of didn't prepare myself for the fact that, yeah, actually changing countries, changing cultures, changing languages, changing professions, very quickly becoming a homeowner, all of this stuff. So like just go. Even though it was really positive and made us so happy, it was just a lot. There were definitely times where I felt like my head was really foggy. I had a to-do list that felt like a million items long. Like it wasn't working. I wasn't getting anywhere, if that makes sense. And I guess when I moved over to France, there was less of that because it was just me moving over. You've got the kind of safety net of being a student. Like, I went to study, so you have an organization that kind of takes you in and advises you and helps you with visa questions and all that kind of stuff. Whereas this way, it's almost double the change because it's not just my life changing completely as well, again, but it's Neil's as well. And we're young professionals and we're doing it ourselves effectively. So something that I started doing which really helped to reduce anxiety and stress and just clear my head and allow me to focus more, and I guess just have more control over my emotional regulation, was a meditation app called Meditopia. I'd never really tried meditation and mindfulness. I mean, not properly. I mean, I'd done it here and there. And what's cool about Meditopia is that it's really set up so that you can use it as a daily practice and create a daily ritual out of it. Because they've got all sorts of series, they've got different themes that you can focus on. Maybe you want to focus on your relationship, maybe you want to focus on anxiety, maybe you just want to focus on breathing. They've got all sorts of different categories that you can look into. And then as well, they've got guided meditations where they take you through step by step and they teach you how to meditate. It's also set up in a way that there's like challenges and you can see your progress over time, and you can see on a little calendar how often you meditated that month and that kind of thing. So it really works well for someone who's quite goal oriented like me. So I'd often just start the day with it, and it would just be, I did a lot of guided meditations and breathing and a lot around gratitude as well. It really allowed those positive emotions to calm me down, and you know, it just helps you to live better and sleep better as well. So I've been in touch with Metatopia and partnered with them on this video. So if you click the link in my description box down below, you can download the app onto your phone and start a 7-day free trial. The app is free to download and there is free content on there, but I would definitely recommend upgrading to the premium version anyway after your 7-day trial, because you unlock all sorts of features, including the guided meditations, which are game changers. And I was thinking about it, it's like, how often do we invest in gym memberships, for example, that we sometimes barely ever use, by the way? It's so easy to think that it's important to keep physically healthy and fit, but we don't really think the same for our mental health and our mental fitness. Doing something like using Metatopia 10 minutes a day as part of a daily ritual can really help. So again, feel free to click the link in my description, download Metatopia on your phone and start the 7-day free trial. I hope you guys really enjoy it. The next thing I wish I knew, I guess, as a repatriate is what friendships would look and feel like when you go home. So, you know, as like a standard life is made up, you've got your really close friends, your friends, and your acquaintances. And what happens when you move overseas is that you've got to make a choice, because you're trying to build a whole new life over there. You've got, you know, study or work, you've got to build new friendships, you've got to learn a language, you've got to establish relationships with your in-laws. Like, you've got a full life on. So it is hard to keep in touch with your loved ones back home. And so you have to be selective. So you've got to keep in touch with all of your family already, and then your friends. And I definitely have just my few close, precious friends that I've kept in touch with, because I'm not good with half-ass friendships. Like, I like them to be really deep and meaningful. So I'd prefer to spend my time on that rather than trying to juggle like 10 friends, but like kind of half-assedly. But the long-term effect of that is when I moved back, like I was like, I've got no friends and acquaintances. Like I've still got my close friends, of course, but you know, just those people, that colleague you get along with really well, the people you might flick a text to on the weekend and be like, hey, do you want to go to the movies tonight? Do you want to go to the cinema and see this one? Or do you want to go out for dinner? Do you want to do something? And that's been quite confronting as well, because meanwhile, of course, like, it's completely normal, but your close friends, they've re-established their friendships. Like, if you were best friends who hung out all the time and stuff, of course, they've got new people that they do that with, and they have their own rhythm and their own friendship circle, I guess, in real life, right? Like, even though the love will never die and you are in touch really often, of course, they've established new friendships who have become their go-to people for stuff in life and their go-to people for hanging out. And so it is interesting trying to come back and find your place. You can't just expect to come back in and be like the first port of call for your friends like you used to be when you left 6 years ago. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I have acquaintances and people I knew of, but because I haven't invested anything into them for 6 years, it's really weird just to reach out and be like, hey, do you want to catch up? So it's going to take a while, I think, for friendships to regenerate and strengthen again. And at the same time, I'm learning to juggle now. I've got my close friends in France that I want to keep in touch with. And because I've been building a business, I've been terrible at keeping in touch with anyone, like New Zealand or France. There's just something there which I wish I had been a little bit more prepared with in terms of my expectations, and also just like releasing some expectations on myself. Like, when you go back home, you may not have a full social calendar. You'll concentrate on other things for a while, because it takes time. It will take time. And start investing in relationships now, because it could take a year to be able to call someone a real friend, you know? The next thing I want to talk about is how much you realize that you really had rose tinted glasses about your home country. And the grass is always greener. Like, life works like this, humans are like this, but I guess you kind of, when you're missing something, it's almost like you break up with someone and you were in a toxic relationship and you break up with them finally, and one day you're reminiscing about your ex and you're like, we had good times though, and your friends are like, no, Rosie, like, don't even start. Not to say that like New Zealand's a toxic place at all, but it's just funny because you do you do hold on to and remember all the good stuff, and the good stuff is there, but you forget kind of the other stuff, like silly things like you forget how bad the drivers are here, and it's expensive to live here, and it can be a really unfair life on the working class, you know, who are just trying to do their best, and it's horrendous traffic in Auckland, and you have to fly to get everywhere in New Zealand, or take a bus, because we don't have that high-speed train that can get you from Auckland to Wellington to 2 hours. It's just things like that which you kind of like, they didn't really affect you when you'd come back for holiday, and then now that you're living there, they're just different aspects of the country. You're like, oh, that's right. And believe me when I say the pros of living in New Zealand outweigh the cons 50-fold. I still think it's one of the most safest, friendliest, beautiful countries in the entire world. I know how lucky I am to live here, but it's true that you do have rose-tinted glasses, and we're doing the same now with France. So the weather in New Zealand's really changeable, and you can really have 4 seasons in one day. And we've already started saying, oh, well, in France, like the summers are so good, it's perfect every single day. You never have wind, you never have rain, it's just blue skies and sunny for 3 months straight. And then I'm like, is it though? Or are we misremembering? Like, I'm sure it's not sunny every single day. It's definitely more stable than it is in New Zealand. And also sometimes there's heat waves so strong that I remembered like the air felt so thick in the south of France, like I couldn't sleep at night. And also even in the south of France, if you have a really, really mint hot day where you want to go down to the beach, like good luck finding a place that's not next to some like guy with leather skin where you can literally, you're so close you can smell his BO, and he looks like he's been tanning on that beach for 80 years. It's really hard to find a beautiful beach on a good day where you're not completely crammed in like sardines with like towels next to each other and stuff. I know that logically, but you do start sort of reminiscing, I guess, about the other country. So I guess the lesson in here is that the grass always looks greener on the other side, and there's pros and cons in both countries, and it's a completely different life, and it's difficult to compare. But I could never sit here and say like, oh, it's perfect living in New Zealand, or the life in the south of France, oh, what a dream, it's just perfect. Because it's not, and you need to remember that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and just sitting down and having a bit of a casual chat with me. And if you have any questions, I mean, I'm an open book. Feel free to ask them down below in the comments about what life's like back here in New Zealand. Any questions that you have for me, I can either answer them or make a Q&A video out of them. So either works. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching and being a loyal subscriber to Not Even French, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bisous and à bientôt.